When you're ready.
Okay. The fear of people's opinions. What is fear? Fear can be described as an unpleasant, strong emotion caused by anticipation of danger. Fear can be present in the classrooms, within friend groups, during jobs, and even sports. Along with fear's presence in various places, fear can be increased or decreased by the people surrounding oneself. After researching, I believe the fear of people's opinions can affect one's lifestyle and their decision-making, leading them into a more positive or negative lifestyle. Among this claim, I developed a solution stating, although coping with peer pressure is very challenging, strategies including self-awareness, self-confidence, seeking support, and practicing mindfulness are all great ways to cope with FOPA. Throughout this presentation, I will explain the connection between peer pressure and decision-making, leading to an increased challenge choosing courage. Adolescents are more vulnerable to peer pressure and risky decision-making due to undeveloped brains. In 2021, Miranda Dabia, a pediatrician at Scripps Clinics, San Diego, who attended University of Kentucky College of Medicine, states, a teenager's brain is only 80% developed. Teens have extra unconnected synapses in areas where risk assessment occurs, and this gets in the way of judgment. In addition, the prefrontal cortex is undeveloped, which takes away sensitivity in peer pressure and includes risky impulse behavior. Most commonly, peer pressure can be affiliated with negative decision-making and risky behaviors. An individual research by the National Library of Medicine in 2024 says, if I am by myself and I didn't know anybody, then I wouldn't do it. That's no fun. Among this quote, 3 researchers stated their thoughts as to why adolescents engage in certain behaviors. They state, at a time when adolescents spend an increasing amount of time with their peers, research suggests that peer-related stimuli may sensitize the reward system. As stated in this quote, teenagers participate in risky behaviors ranging from a variety of mechanisms, including drugs and alcohol. Unfortunately, this may account for the 70% of teenagers who smoke cigarettes after their friends, or the 50% who try drugs because of peer pressure. Due to adolescents' brains only being 80% developed, they rely on presocial behaviors in everyday life. In 2021, Scripps Pediatrics explains presocial behaviors describes actions that are meant to benefit others, such as volunteering, donating, and sharing. Among the reliance on presocial behaviors, positive peer pressure helps teens develop coping skills. In 2021, Scripps Pediatrics sums this up when stating, positive peer pressure can help teens develop the coping skills necessary for adulthood. It might encourage teens to become more active in athletics to avoid risky behaviors, which can be especially important during rough times. The University of Minnesota conducted a study discovering if those who surround an individual eat less amounts of food, they are more likely to do the same and continue these habits when alone. The researchers served a small group of students a chocolate chip cookie and secretly asked 2 out of the 3 students to refrain from eating. After the 3rd student noticed that the other 2 were not eating the cookies, they refrained from eating the cookies as well. Through the Tunnel, a short story written by British author Doris Lessing exemplifies when one fears people's opinions about themselves, they push themselves to overcome fear. In the story, 11-year-old Jerry struggles to find and swim through an underwater tunnel, but after multiple days in practice, he is successful. The story goes hand in hand with FOPO, or fear of people's opinions, positively impacting one because Jerry feared what his peers thought about him if he could not swim through this tunnel. Ultimately, this pushed him to be successful in swimming through the tunnel. Peer pressure plays a large role in fear for adolescents, challenging them to choose courage in certain situations. Choosing courage is extremely challenging, steering individuals away from doing what is best for themselves. Professional athletes put this into perspective as many continue to perform against injuries, illnesses, personal struggles, and even death. A quote from Athletic in 2021 puts this into perspective when stating, "A special honor is reserved for those who triumph through adversity. Michael Jordan's flu game, when he dominated despite food poisoning. Brett Favre's producing an all-time gem while grieving the death of his father. Skylar Diggins-Smith playing a WNBA season when she was pregnant, and Kirk Gibson hitting a World Series game-winning home run when he could barely run. During the 2020 Olympics, gold medal gymnast Simone Biles withdrew from 5 events due to mental difficulties separating her mind from her body. 24-year-old athlete was projected to win golds in at least 3 out of 5 of the events. Amongst dropping out of the games, Simone told the fans as to why she did such a thing. Throughout the sports world, when an athlete chooses to drop out of an event or a game, they tend to create a cover-up story, embarrassed to admit that they are not perfect. However, Simone reveals great courage not only for dropping out of the games, but being transparent to her fans, admitting she dropped out because of mental difficulties. In 2021, the New York Times shared their thoughts on this when stating, "We wholeheartedly support Simone's decisions and applaud her bravery in prioritizing her well-being. Her courage yet again shows why she is a role model for so many." In addition to Olympian Simone Biles, Olympian Michael Phelps swimmer struggled with both anxiety and depression following the 2004 Athens Olympics. As a result of this, he decided to take a short break and put equal emphasis on both his physical and mental health. During his struggles, he states, "I felt like I didn't want to be alive anymore. And for me, that was causing a lot of stress and issues for other people around me, so I thought the best thing to do was to just leave." In conclusion, the fear of people's opinions can impact their decision-making and their lifestyles. It is upon the individual to choose whether or not they follow with their peers' decisions or do what is best for themselves using courage in adversity.
Okay, thank you. Excuse me. How did your research question evolve as you moved through the research process?
My research question evolved from students fearing what teachers and parents thought about them based on their academic performance and standardized test scores. However, I wanted my research to be more broad and look into adolescents fearing people's opinions in a variety of different ways, including school, sports, friend groups, and etc., so that more people could relate to it and find more interest in it.
Okay, thank you. What additional questions emerged from your research and why are they important?
2 additional questions that emerged from my research include, if peers increase involvement in clubs and sports, would an individual influence the peers to quit if they were to do so? And my other question is, if schools were to lead small support groups helping students cope with FOBO or fear of people's opinions to learn the importance of making decisions for themselves and what is best for them, I think that these questions are very important because one brings up a special solution that could stop the students FOBOing, and the other is very important because it brings up an important question, because even if they're interested in the club and their friend quit, then they would quit, and could that lead to increased depression or other mental illnesses if they were depending on that to be happy or be more involved in their school?
Okay, cool.